First thing is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections other than?
Move to approve as presented.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes from the previous meeting and the work session. Everybody had a chance to take a look at those.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the March 11th regular meeting and the March 11th work session. No additional questions. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Looks like we have anybody from the audience. Great to see that there wasn't any additional injuries or accidents. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those really good times when you get to recognize staff and all their efforts. MMU was awarded. Chase, if you want to come up here. Chase is our safety specialist. For the third year in a row, we were awarded the Electric Utility Safety Award of Excellence. This is a platinum award. It was the highest level you can get. And I think it's a testament to our staff, department directors, really everybody. It's a team effort to get this, and I couldn't be prouder of this group and everybody that works at MMU. So, Chase, thank you and congratulations.
Congratulations. Good job. Thank you. Yes.
Standing on a high note.
Yeah.
Well, you can go ahead. Well, we're not done either, so we can keep going if you want to call Doug. Doug,
Doug?
Jeff.
Doug. Oh, Mike. Sorry, a lot of people don't want. Thank you, Ken. So yeah, we've got a second award. Also, this is the Reliable Public Provider Award. We have received this since I think the inaugural. When I started giving these out, we're kind of the part of the founding class. But this is an award that's due every 3 years. A lot of work, hard work, and effort goes into not only making this possible, but the application is pretty thorough. They look at a lot of things, not just your reliability rates, but your safety practices, or your testing relays, or your tree trimming. They look at all your program management programs and along with your reliability numbers to make sure you're doing what needs to be done to have a reliable electric system. Doug and his group have continued to do a fantastic job there, and we again received the Reliable Public Power Provider Award. I think that's a great accomplishment for Doug's group and the staff that supports it. So congratulations, Doug, and you'll come up here and some people might want to get your picture. I don't know. Oh, we'll get pictures after. Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, be sure to congratulate your group.
I will, appreciate it.
Bingo district. You can just stand up there and make a speech.
It'd be short.
Okay. Well, I guess we're ready for you anyway, so.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I do have an action item for you today for the main 2 substation breaker relay testing. This is a budgeted item. We did open bids on Thursday, March 19th. We only received one bid from HK Shoals Company. We have worked with this company in the past. They did North Street Substation for us in 2008. They also did Southeast Substation switchgear replacement in 22. Very well company to work with, knowledgeable, did a great job for us. I'm comfortable working with this group again. So my recommendation for a motion to accept the bid from Harold K. Shoals Company for Miami 2 breaker and relay testing for a total cost of $36,500.
What's their timeline, Doug?
I think they're available in May.
Okay. No other discussion. I'd make that motion to accept the bid from Harold K. Schwartz Company for Miami 2 breaker and relay testing for a total cost of $36,500.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the bid from L.K. Slots Company for Miami 2 breaker and relay testing for a total cost of $36,500. There's no additional questions or discussions. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. Not much else to add. Electric distribution, underground facility, building maintenance. I do have a meeting this afternoon. We got to discuss some of this. I did contact another person. He stood me up twice and then kicked me out. So he said I was out of his area and wasn't going to, didn't want to come up and visit with us about it. So, but I do have a meeting today to hopefully make some progress on that. And then the arc flash labels, we did get those installed on all the equipment with the exception of one. So I did reach out to get a reprint of that label, so we should have that finished up soon. So other than that, that's all I got. Unless you have any questions for me.
I was just curious, over there at the old power plant, what are those, those duct bank depths? What'd you find those
3 to
depths?
4 feet.
3 to 4 feet?
Top of the duct bank.
Okay.
I think there's one that's a little bit shallower, that went directly into the power plant at the time. I think it's only maybe a couple feet deep, but it's very short. It's just outside the manholes.
Okay. Is that to the top of the duct, to the
Top
ground?
of the duct, yeah.
And Crockett's called in, locates and start. So I
Soils.
think the locates were good today. But I think when I talked to Jen, or she gave me a heads up, they'd probably be here Friday to do those. So things are starting to move along. And I think once we get an elevation, you know, after these soil borings and they kind of get us an elevation, that'll help kind of resolve some of the duct bank issues. Because we don't want to build the building right on top of it. There needs to be some cushion in there. So waiting on that number, and we'll continue to look at some remedies for those little duct banks.
Are there any questions about the project status report? Okay, no additional questions for Doug. Thank you, Doug. Jim, good morning.
Good morning. We do have an action item. We sent out bids for replacement of truck 313. The one the engine died on. Got 6 bids back. We did have to send out an addendum because originally it didn't have enough towing capacity. The cabin chassis are derated or whatever, and so ended up changing it to a regular pickup with dualies in order to get the towing power. So the bids we got back, the first lowest 3 did not beat specs, either single rear wheels or regular cab or bed delete. So the first bid that met specs was from Hare Carpino for $60,035. So that's our recommendation to go with that bid from Hare Carpino.
$35 over budget.
More than likely, we'll drive it as a pickup. There's a good possibility next year sometime we'll change it to a utility body, but for now we're just going to keep it as a pickup and put it in the fleet.
And I guess there is one lower bid that meets spec, Moley, but it's $278, and I'm going to see it stay local.
Yeah, the Moley's a bed delete, so
Okay.
it doesn't have the bed.
All right. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
I'd make the motion to accept the bid from Hare Carpino Chevrolet for $60,035.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the bid from Eric Carpino for Chevrolet for $60,035. There's no additional questions. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Guys been blowing fiber between Elmwood and Mount Leonard. We've had good success on most of it, but there's one section we've had to dig up a few spots where the conduit's not working out for us. But I think we found the last bad spot yesterday, so hopefully we'll get that last section blown in here when it dries out. Other than that, getting some stuff buried when it's dry enough, and figuring out other stuff to do when it's not.
So Jim, just to clarify, that truck from here to Pino is a dually.
Yep.
It didn't say, but okay.
Right, yep.
All right.
Any questions about Jim's status report?
Lots of projects on there. Hopefully grant stuff.
Pardon?
It's too big to read.
Yeah, well.
It's got a lot going on.
Tony, have you, the last submission, have we got any information on our last submission? Okay.
Yeah, well, our
They
last,
received it.
yeah, which was the fastest, we had a 2-week turnaround from submitting to getting reimbursed, which is a high note, because I think the past ones have taken anywhere from 3 to 6 months to get, so
Wow.
we're starting to figure them out, so.
Great. Anything else, Jim? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Travis, good morning.
Morning. Did have an action item for you guys this morning. It's to lower the pumping equipment in well 4. After discussions with the well contractor and everything, their opinion would be to lower the pumping equipment to get better capacity out of well 4. We kind of discussed that, I believe, on the last meeting. So, basically, they sent me the proposal. You guys have a copy of it in your packet. So my recommendation is a motion to accept the proposal for lowering the pumping equipment on well 4 from Flynn Drilling Company in the amount of $19,451. $541 there.
It looks like this is lowering it 20 feet.
Yes.
This is gonna get us better flow. We're not kicking anything down the road that we're gonna have to address later, are we?
Shouldn't. This should take care of it for a very long time.
Not that I had a fix for you, I'm just asking a question.
Make that motion to accept the proposal for lowering the pumping equipment on well 4 from Flynn Drilling Company in the amount of $19,541.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the proposal for lowering the pumping equipment on well number 4 from Flynn Drilling Company in the amount of $19,541. There's no additional discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Just some updates. We're still in the process of cleaning the number 3 basins. We did clean the line from the aerator to the basin, and basically at the 90-degree elbow, we found it was blocked quite a bit. So we should get better capacity out of that. Shouldn't have the flow issues we've been having. So there's just kind of an update on that one. But other than that, be happy to answer any questions.
Had you had trouble with that before, or did you even know it was there?
I think it was last year, we had a company come in and tried to clean it, everything. And I don't think they got all the way through that 90 the last time. The flows helped, or after they were here, it helped for a few months, it seemed like, but then it just kept getting the same way. This time, we went from the basin to the aerator. And the last time we went from the aerator to the basin. So this time we know we got to it.
Okay, good. Any additional questions for Travis? Any questions about his progress report? Thank you, Travis. Eric, good morning.
Morning. Not too much to add. We continue to haul biosolids to get out ahead of this rain. The west pad is pretty well all cleared off, so we're in good shape there. Aeration blower 3 is still set for startup on Monday. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Everything at the junction looked good.
Yep.
They started that?
System looks pretty simple and straightforward, and I think all of our staff has a good grasp on everything operation-wise out there. So.
Drive out there and take a look at that. The other day, I was up there working on the fireworks thing. I could check it out.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
They got the fencing all the way up around there?
No, that was one of the things I think we addressed with, we talked to the commission that,
You know, we met with Commission Monday and kind of went over some things. There needs to be some security lighting at night, fencing, some different stuff.
Like they might have had one little dusted on it.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
Wasn't much.
Right, but we kind of had some discussion with them. We're gonna follow up in a month, with them, just to kind of see some of the progress that, they've still got to develop rates, they've got to develop billing, they've got to develop, you know, those sort of things. And we're just, you know, they're not in the utility business, and we're kind of going with them and making sure, you know, I don't think it's gonna go into operation for another 4 or 5 months. They've got time, but we're wanting to help them with that process and make sure when they get to that point, there's no surprises. And we like surprises, particularly when it costs money, so.
That house down there beside that thing, is it, somebody still living in
yeah, I think across the road.
there? Yeah.
Yes, I believe. Somebody's
Seems like it's
still
gonna be a pretty active place here in a bit. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think they picked a good system. It's, didn't require much. You know, there's some, I think on the effluent, they did not have SCADA on that. If they get that, which I think it was in their bid, somehow it didn't get done, so they're gonna follow up on that, because, you know, any of that stuff we can monitor remote's gonna save us a trip down. It's gonna save them money. So, you know, there's a few items we're just kind of trying to finalize, make sure, you know, when things get going, it's where it needs to be, so.
Anything else? Thank you, Eric. Grant, good morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
As you see, we received the final copy of the master plan. We have since submitted the application for actually there's 7 new from us and 5 from Burns on for flow. New projects, we sent that application to DNR and waiting to hear back from that. Other than that, I don't have anything to add unless you have any questions.
In that master plan, did they talk about the main transmission line and some of the questions we've had about it?
They have quoted the price in it.
Did they? Okay. Did they address, you know, whether we can, you know, do a section of larger diameter?
They're talking about upsizing the entire line. They haven't got any further detail than that, as far as rerouting it or replacing a section at a time. That will come after, you know, if we propose that project, they'll completely engineer that whole piece.
Yeah, they ended up with the 20-inch line, is what their recommendation is. I know
Okay.
we talked about it 16 at one point. And then there was really 4 steps that we will need to do before, you know, to kind of gather enough information before they even really start the engineering. My hope would be, and I haven't reached out to Jeff, would be for them at the next meeting to come present that to you guys and allow you to ask questions, you know, on that. We just got this, you know, within the last 5 days probably. And, been through it. I think it's a really good report. I think it's, gonna benefit our customers and, you know, our staff and moving forward. So, but yeah, I think it'd be appropriate to have Burns, you know, kind of.
I mean, is it a book?
It's not as big as Travis's.
Okay.
Travis's water treatment plant study is about twice as thick.
And a lot of it is, we've got this on paper and we sent this to DNR. They're kind of waiting on their comments
Okay.
to see.
I was just wondering if we maybe could get a copy of it before it's presented to us. So we
Sure,
could at
yeah,
least-
no, I'd be more than happy.
We're not gonna waste a lot of paper.
Yeah, no, I'd be more than happy to.
Okay,
I gotta get Travis a copy too, so.
okay.
We're gonna meet next week to go over his copy and Grant's copy and kind of start that process
Okay.
of picking and choosing and then coming to the dollar amount, and then we'll come to you guys and, you know, if you guys wanna have another work session or two to kind of get that finalized, but we've got a plan moving forward to to kind of start digging through those.
Okay. Thank you.
If there's nothing else for Grant, thank you, Grant. Jared, good morning.
Morning. Morning. Don't really have much to add to what's in the packet. Be happy to answer your questions. Yeah.
Finally got 6 running.
Did. It ran good.
Good. Dog outage.
I looked at I could pull it up on the scale and see it running, and I looked at it and I thought Jared's showing off, because I've never seen that unit generate that. It was 14.8, 14.9 megawatts. It's significant improvement. I don't know that I've ever seen it put that much out, so.
I've seen that for a long time.
No, it's, few bugs left with the voltage regulator, but I think you get past that and we're gonna be good shape.
We are learning how to run it in manual a little better now too, and that helps. Way better, but new voltage regulator will be nice to have that finished up.
Anything else for Jared? Thank you, Jared. Megan's not here this morning. You wanna-
Yeah, so I do have another announcement. Ground facilities, I believe as of yesterday, reached 3 years with no reportable injuries. So,
All
I'd like to recognize Grant and his group for that accomplishment and, their hard work and the efforts they put into continuing that, safe work environment. So, thank you, Grant. Pass my thanks along to your staff as well. Other than that, not too much to add. The 20-year dinner, you can see that scheduled there, so you guys will find some time in your schedules and yeah, just call Megan and let her know, and certainly be glad to have all the board there if you can make it. Other than that, I'll try to answer any questions you might have in Megan's area.
Any questions about anything in Megan's report? Not, we'll move on. Tony, good morning.
Morning. Don't have anything to add to what's in the packet, but would be happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
You did good today.
He has his moments.
Yeah.
I think you did tell us before that the remaining funds on grant 2 that maybe we might be able to apply to the customer. How much?
Yeah, so I've submitted everything to USDA. They're kind of reviewing it. Our GFR is, and then I'm waiting to hear back from him on if it's a go or no go. That the go doesn't necessarily mean they will approve it, but if it's a go, he thinks it's a go, then I'll submit a formal request for it to USDA. And I'm thinking it's around 1.6 is what we have available left on matching funds.
Any other questions for Tony? Thank you, Tony. Jeff, good morning again.
Morning, gentlemen. I do have one action item this morning. This is in relation to Customer Connect Center. We had a budget meeting last week, I believe, and that's kind of where the construction manager and the architect come together and with a budget proposal. The construction manager's reached out and gotten estimates from the vendors required for the project, and based on that, has provided some estimates. I think one of the comments was the plumbing bid was probably a little bit high. They thought it could come down when they go through the actual bid process. There's still some things in there that we could there's some opportunities to lower the price that they gave us. One is the potential on the electrical for gym shop and the tin in there, and then there's some rock work out back past the aprons too. I don't have a dollar amount on those yet, but I think there's gonna be some opportunities to cut this original budget price. The budget that they have given us was, $6,202,031. If the board is okay with that range, and again, we're hopeful we could bring that down, we would approve that, and then they would proceed with coming back, getting hard bids, going through all that, with a guaranteed maximum price, probably, towards the end of June. And Chuck participated in those. I don't know, Chuck, if you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I just, I will, I thought it was very thorough. There was a lot of, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of good discussion about it, and I felt good about that number that they came back, and then, you're right, the plumbing was mentioned as they kind of felt like that was high. The other thing is, I think, was maybe the opportunity to self-perform some of the work, so I think that's another opportunity to save a little bit, and I don't know how much, but, yeah, I felt real good about the whole process. And if there's, so I guess I will make that motion to approve the preliminary budget estimate from Septagon in the amount of $6,202,031 and to proceed with developing a guaranteed maximum price for approval at a future meeting. And obviously this, even to this point, it's not, it's not a commitment. We're spending this money. It's just we're finding out.
The commitment will come when they deliver the guaranteed maximum.
That's
price. That'll be the commitment point. This is just
Yeah.
saying, hey, we're comfortable with where you're at. We'll move forward to get that guaranteed maximum price development.
I'll second it. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the preliminary budget estimate from Septagon in the amount of $6,202,031 and to proceed with developing a guaranteed maximum price for approval at a future meeting. Any other questions? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. Staff and I, we continue to work on the transmission line certification that is going to be called by the Marshall Energy Center. We did get with MPUA, and we have submitted. They have submitted the application to the Midwest Reliability Organization. We hope to see those results sometime in May. There's different levels of NERC certification. There's, if you're going to be a large impact to the bulk system, or a low, medium impact, or a low impact. We're really hoping for a low impact, which would hopefully we'd see fewer hoops in having to perform some of the functions that we're going to be required to. In the meantime, they're working on moving forward. Whatever outcome that is, we're trying to be prepared to address the transmission owner functions and then the transmission operator functions. And talked to Steve Stodden last week, and he's got a couple things in the works. He thinks they're going to work pretty good for us in the interim until we kind of learn a little bit more. They've got to get this done before December 1st, so we've got to get all, this is kind of on the fast track. So when the generation project comes online, a lot of these regulations are met. So a little bit of a push there. Doug and Jared both have been involved. The TOP function, or the transmission operator function, we absolutely didn't want no part of that. You're talking about a secure control room. You could look at spending $1 million on your control room to meet their compliance. So we've definitely learned we don't want to do that function. So that TO, which is the transmission owner function, I think that's something that shouldn't be too hard to do. A lot of that stuff we're already doing. It's just a matter of putting it on the NERC form versus, we're doing battery inspections and inspecting gas levels on the circuit breakers, and that's part of our practice. So, but anyway, we're moving forward with that. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit more information in May, but not anything too scary there. Another thing that came out of that is NERC will also require us to have, because we've got two separate entities, one's Muddy Muck and one is us, to have, transmission and generator interconnect agreements. I'm working with Terry and Jared down at the MPUA. I hope to have those done here pretty quick and maybe to you guys at the next board meeting. So and those aren't, I mean, it's just a matter of a formality, getting those put in place. I mean, it's not like it hasn't been something we're already doing. It's just to check that box for NERC, we'll have to have those done. So, moving on a little bit here. As Eric Matter, we did mention, we did meet with the county commission Monday and thought they went real well. We're going to circle back with them in a month and, you know, make sure all the SCADA stuff's done and some other details worked out. We are hosting the Generation Roundtable today at 10 a.m. That's going to start here. I think they're going to end up with a tour over to Marshall Energy Center, and I hope everybody is bringing boots because it's going to be a little muddy over there. Grant mentioned, we did receive the distribution master plan. We've got a meeting scheduled next week with internal staff to kind of review both of those and kind of narrow down what the priorities are and kind of how we're going to move forward with that. Also working on funding whatever projects come out of there. If we do borrow from the state revolving fund, we will need a voter approved bonding capacity. Tony's working with DNR to get a few more details on that, but looks like we may have to have a potential vote there. So,
Are there any other options?
lease finance, which I think would be a higher cost. I mean, I think state revolving fund is a subsidized rate, and you're looking around 2%. I think if you go with anything else, you're gonna probably double that, maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
So, I mean, I think this is our best option. I know we haven't had to go to the voters for a while for bonding, but I think we can certainly show the need for those improvements and the reason. We're just gonna have to communicate, what we're required to vote for and the improvements that are gonna come with it. So, if you go through, particularly Travis's report, there's a common word: exceeded its expected, or exceeded its life expectancy. We've got a lot of really old infrastructure that is far outlived its life expectancy. It's funny, Tony went back and looked at some of that infrastructure that we're currently using. And that 12-inch water main, is that $167,000?
It was under two.
$167,000 to put that in 1945. And what's really, I kind of did some figures, the number that Burns has in there is $20 million. I'll tell you right now, it's got a contingency built in there, I think around, I think they stated 40% contingency. So we're pretty comfortable that it's high. But, this infrastructure replacements are outpacing inflation by 3 or 4 times. I mean, that line, if you just went on inflation, should be around $3.5 million to replace. Well, it's probably going to be 2 to 3 times that. So, it's even if you fully depreciate it, you cover it, all that stuff, we've got financial challenges because infrastructure costs have risen significantly more than inflation. I mean, it's not just MMU. It's an issue in this country. The cost to replace and put new infrastructure in is not going the right direction. So, but anyway, we'll continue to look at that. I'll keep you guys in the loop there. Not a whole lot on the MSTC side. Group continues to evaluate childcare. We know that's one of the needs we've identified. I think we're going to kind of back up at the front a little bit there on what that looks like. Did submit a request to Missouri Partnership. Connor reached out and he submitted a property. We'll see how that goes. He did, and we're seeing from Missouri Partnership, a lot of projects with really high infrastructure needs. We got one that was a $1.8 billion plant but it was gonna need 300 megawatts of electricity. I mean, it was, and I shared that with, staff down at MPUA that, you know, they need to help, they need to understand, you know, some of the things that their customers are seeing or that the pools are seeing from a capacity perspective. Yeah, it's a lot of big projects. I don't know where they're gonna find a home, because capacity, as we all know, is an issue. Other than that, I'd be, happy to answer any questions.
On the 161 transmission line, and I know, I think we said it's probably the least option is if we were to sell it. But how do we put a value to it of what it's worth?
It would have to be appraised, third-party appraisal. And we did talk to, Travis Crossy with Nixa. They had a line that it was a 69 kV, so really kind of NERC's threshold is 100 kV. But it tied between two regions, between Southwest Power Administration and then city utilities. So there was some tariff revenue there. But NERC came in and basically said, you've got to do some work on this one. You've got to put steel poles in, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got 20 years to do it. Well, Nixa made the decision, we don't want to do that. We don't want to spend that money. We don't want, because that's going to roll right back into their rates. So at that time, they made a decision to sell it. So they sold it to a third party. That third party put all the, made all the improvements that were needed, then turned around and sold it, or attempted to sell it. But I think they made a mistake because MPUA had the first right of refusal. And anyway, there's some things that worked out. MPUA now owns that line, and they're a big partner for them. But my guess, Chuck, would be you'd want to have an appraisal. And a lot of the value is probably going to be based on the tariffs that can be collected. I mean, that's, what's that asset worth is how much revenue does it generate. So there'll have to be some work done. I think if right now we've got a loop, we've got an emergency tie we normally run from our radial feed. But if we close that emergency tie, that would add some tariff revenue, and it would also, improve the reliability of our community. Having two different, if we have a section of transmission line go out in the middle, it would isolate that line and we wouldn't lose any customers. So there's a lot of things we're looking at here, but I'm trying not to get too carried away until we really get the report back from the MRO. I mean, you can sit through some of the meetings we did and go, oh my gosh, what are we doing? What happened? But, a lot of that's because we're being told things, and a lot of that's worst case scenario, and I don't think that's what we're doing.
Well, you answered whenever you said we'd get an appraisal, because that's, I wasn't sure how you put a value to it. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's gonna be the option, but I think if I had a preference, it would be to sell to MPUA. And they would contract us. You look at it right now, we're spending about $100,000 a year to maintain that line with no revenue. Our customers are basically paying for that. Well, if somebody else owned it and we got paid to maintain it, that $100,000 would not only be gone, but we'd be getting paid back to do some of that. So, from a customer cost standpoint, there may be some advantages there. But if anything you do like that, you want the right partner. Right. And there's a lot to happen between now and then, but that would be, the process I would think would be appraisal. And you'd have to have the tariff revenue probably to include in that appraisal.
Everything on track at the Energy Center?
Yep, moving along pretty good. I think Rand is going to start joining the progress meetings with the mechanical contractor. They're on site. Of course, this weather is going to slow them down a little bit. Solar was in. They did get the roof replaced on the damaged unit that struck the overpass when it was being delivered. I think they got a few things to finish up. They're expected to be done Friday with that, and they'll get out of the way. And I think here in the next month we get some good weather. I did see them. They were out chasing the bolts and cleaning the bolts for the stacks. So I think you're going to start seeing a lot of big stuff here in the next month. Push forward.
Jared and Doug and I did meet, there's some discussion on the transformers, you know, at one time, you know, the first two units were being connected to our existing transformers, which are a little bit small. So MPUA's got 2 transformers ordered to replace those that are larger. There's some grounding issues there. If that larger transformer is gonna require us to remove the grounding transformer, because there's not enough physical room, which could create some issues on generator protection, different things like that. You know, I kind of let Drew know, you know, it's not set in stone, we have to give those transformers. If you want to hook up temporarily to our stuff, and then when those come in, make a direct step up to the transmission line like the other ones that make, I don't want wonky relaying that was done to accommodate something that probably wasn't designed right. And I think if we remove that grounding transformer, you're losing grounding current for a fault for our own generating units. So there's some stuff there we're working through. I think Doug's got a meeting this afternoon with Toad. Tomorrow afternoon, and yeah, I'll be reaching out to Drew. You know, I kind of shared with him my thoughts and kind of see where that ends up. But I think that's really kind of the big issue that I'm aware of right now. Everything else is kind of moving along pretty good. So. Seems like that's a lot of extra liability on our end if we remove that transformer. Well, all that liability is going to be on them if anything we do. But yeah, I think I've got a good team with Jared and Doug, and those guys are involved. You know, it's and they're good to work with. Drew's, I think he's aware of our stance as a group, and you know, that might add some cost to the project, because if you put turbine leads from phase 1 to our bus, and then you don't use them, you're talking it's a significant dollar amount there. So to me, that would be the biggest challenge of doing it the way I would prefer, but or that we would prefer, but I think we'll get worse. They had a really good consultant on that meeting, PPS, who took over for LD, and a lot of this was due to the fact that one engineering firm started it, designed some of the stuff before they looked at the relaying, and now we have a different firm, because that firm wasn't carrying the water, so to speak, and so there's a little bit of kind of going back, cleaning up some things that should have been done from the beginning. I think we're kind of seeing those now. But I'm confident we'll get through it. The guy that PPS had on there was very, very knowledgeable. I felt pretty good that we had people that know what they're doing involved. That's always a good thing. So. And then you see it, here's the budget. We included the budget that you guys approved from Septicon. It's in there. And again, you got a copy of the boardroom. You know, kind of look at it if you have questions, feedback, anything. Certainly feel free to reach out anytime. We're still early on in this. There's definitely time to make changes or whatever, but this is kind of our first rendition. I think Chuck was kind of involved in that a little bit. I appreciate Chuck's involvement as well. Having a board representative, especially for things like this, is certainly welcome. I think it makes the project a better project at the end. So Chuck's had some good feedback.
Others within your group, you know, a lot of input from Jim, Tony, that, you know, are going to be the users of this, and they've provided a lot of good feedback and comments and options.
And Jim even got a drain for how to do it. Jim, Chuck's learning. Jim's pretty frugal.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. We like your being frugal, Jim.
If there's nothing else for Jeff, we'll move on to cash disbursement. Move to approve cash disbursements.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve cash disbursements. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next board meeting is Wednesday, April the 15th. So working everybody's schedule?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll be flying home from Nicaragua on the 15th. I'll be
What about the 16th?
here.
Can we move to the 16th?
Yeah, I think so. I
Do
don't,
do we have anything going to the city that you, on the 16th? That always kind of causes them a little problem if we meet on Thursday to get it to them on time.
nothing that I see. If we
Okay.
do, I communicate with Julie and
Okay.
let her know. We try to work pretty close with them on
Yeah.
that, but
Okay.
not thinking of anything right now. Like, we've got some agreements maybe. But I'll know far enough. I'll know on Wednesday and I can give her a heads up
Okay.
another night.
Is that agreeable? Thursday's 16th?
Yeah, Thursday's fine with me.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for what you're doing.
You're welcome.
If there's no other business or discussion, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.